Coming up on this episode of Inbox with Julia Cosby.
To me, it's murder of the soul when an adult talks to a child in a sexual nature, because it confuses them and it can damage their way of thinking and their outlook and stuff from a young age.
Leading up to that meeting, what was going on? What was he saying to you? You mentioned that he was sending you explicit pictures.
30 seconds in the conversation, started going on about different prostitutes that he had slept with that were underage, that were minors, 14 and 15 years old, right out of the get-go. And it's like, what did I just hear? Like, this guy can't be serious.
There was a meeting that you did where you actually put on a disguise.
I'm looking around, I'm freaking out, looked in the garbage, grabbed Tim Hortons cup, dumped it out, put it on the ground. I looked like a bum because I don't really, like, I wash my clothes, but I don't change that often. I mean, I wear like plaid shirts. So, I mean, I guess I looked like I was homeless. I put my hat forward like this and just said, "Sir, please, can you give me some change? Help me to go after myself and get a job." And that's when I stood up and flapped my hat around and confronted him.
Do you ever get death threats or any other kind of threats?
From the morning I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, it's either text messages of drama, comments on YouTube of praise or hate, or death threats in voice mail messages.
They say, "Oh, no, I won't do it again," or "Trust me." Do you believe them?
No, I do understand that why somebody would want to get out of that situation, because it is the worst situation to be in ever. Getting caught going to meet a child, that's the worst.
Hello and welcome to Inbox with Julia Cosby. I'm Julia Cosby and we've got a great show for you. Joining me is Justin Payne, a YouTube-based pedophile hunter. He will be talking to us about his experiences coming face to face with men intending to meet children off dating apps. Aside from his full-time job, he spends all of his extra time tracking, confronting, and exposing suspected child predators by posing as a child on dating apps and uploading his encounters on YouTube. Payne's cyber success has landed him over 1,300,000 views and 24,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. Although police don't support his efforts, he has no plans of stopping. Welcome, Justin Payne. So tell me a little bit about your experiences. How does the whole process go through of tracking, confronting, and videotaping the whole deal?
The first thing that I'll do is I'll take a few photographs of the 12 that I have. I have 3 decks, one of a blonde, one of a brunette, and one of a boy. Each child is approximately about 12 years old, and I will upload just a few of the photographs just so that I have a few left over for when they ask for photographs, and I'll just post them up and I'll put an obscene age on, 36, 47, so on and so forth. I mean, clear as day, it looks like a 12-year-old. I will then get the messages, and I mean, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt from the beginning. I mean, because some people just copy and paste messages, but I will 2 or 3 messages in say, "Hey, I'm 12 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, so on and so forth." And I leave it up to them. I mean, if they want to continue conversation, they can. Most of the time I'll say, you know, "I guess because I'm young, you probably don't want to talk to me," and I'll say bye. I'll actually end the conversation. They come back to me and say, no, I want to continue talking to you. Within sometimes 8, 9 messages, it turns sexual. They want to see breast shots, genital shots of the girl and the boy. Luckily, with the brunette, I have photographs of her like holding up a newspaper and stuff like that. So those are, I'll play poker with them when I call it, I'll tell them to send me a photograph so that they can prove to me that they're real. And then when in turn they'll ask me to send the same one, but I have the same one. So I'm kind of bluffing at the same time. So, I always let them lead the conversation. I always let them, you know, tell me what their thoughts and feelings and stuff like that. But lately we kind of made a turn with everything. I'm pretending to be Christopher a lot more because I'm able to have conversations with them on the phone, and they'll actually believe that I'm 11, 12, and 13 years old. And we're able to extract a lot more information opposed to just in text format, because text format, it's hard to prove, you know, without a reasonable doubt in court, that was this other person on the other end. Just because they showed up, I mean, an attorney could argue that maybe it wasn't them that was chatting. So in this instance, we're able to have like full confessions and stuff like that with audio.
You mentioned that you have pictures of all these different kids. Where are you finding the pictures from?
I got pictures donated from friends in Nova Scotia.
You have multiple, are they just boys, are they just girls, is it mixed?
I have one deck, like one set of like 12 pictures of a blonde, and then another of a brunette, and then the boy, Christopher.
Now you said that you talk to them on the phone as well. So talking on the phone, do they all have their own characteristics and their own characters, or are you putting a lot of your own personality into this?
It's a little bit of everything. I mean, and I kind of created them to be certain ways. Like brunette Jennifer is sarcastic. Like she'll tell you how it is. If you send a disgusting photograph or something, she'll tell you off and stuff. And then blonde Jennifer's shy. She's not really too outgoing, but she's really smart and she's artistic. And Christopher is just the shyest kid you'll ever meet. And I take a lot of like myself and I put it in him because I want to make it personal when I'm on the phone with them, because when I'm Christopher, it's not acting, it's real. I have to become their best friend in order to get them to admit things. I mean, I've gotten so far by being Christopher on the phone, I've gotten a superintendent to admit to me that it's his sexual fantasy to be with children. He's been working on the school board for over 40 years. He's married with 2 kids. He calls me constantly because he wants Christopher. So right now we're gathering up all the information that we can to try to get him fired, to not be working for the schools anymore. I mean, then there's another guy that's a convicted pedophile ×2. And like this would not be possible if it was not for the voice. Like if Christopher could not talk to them, I would not be able to get this information.
Now, are you recording all of this, or?
Yeah, I have a friend named Paul. He's got like a podcast set up in his living room. So I'll drive down, and sometimes it's like I won't go to bed until like 3 or 4 in the morning, and same thing as him. And poor guy has to get up at like 8 and 9 sometimes. And yeah, I just plug my phone into this little box thing or something like that, and it records. We put headphones on, we talk into microphones, and these guys don't even know they're being recorded.
What do you do again? What's your job?
I work with 66 different schools.
Yeah.
As a consultant.
Yeah. My birthday's coming up. I can't wait. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, you mean May 3rd, right?
Do you remember how old I'm turning, though?
13, eh?
Yeah. I can't wait.
You're going to be a big teenager then, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask, did the teacher do anything to you?
Yeah. What do you mean, though?
Oh, did he suck your dick, or?
Yeah, sometimes he'd make me do stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. How did it make you feel at the time?
I was, scared and stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't really...
Did he ever...
What?
Did he ever shoot his white stuff?
Now, when you're texting all of these guys, what kind of techniques are you doing? I think I saw you speaking into your phone one time to sound more realistic.
I don't like using voice to text because it makes your sentence perfect. It puts all the periods and everything where it's supposed to be. Most kids are going to have, quick writing and stuff like that, and they're going to misspell a lot of words and stuff. So I want to make it overly believable that it is a kid. So I speak very childishly. I make fun of my teacher all the time. My teacher came to class and her breath smells. I keep it as light as possible. I make sure that from my end, if the police get to hear the chat logs or their voice recordings, that it is clean as a whistle. There's no enticing, and if they say something sexual, I'll just keep asking, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I won't partake in it whatsoever because kids they're not like that. So it wouldn't make sense.
Are you the only other pedophile hunter around, child predator hunter, or are there others around, or even chapters?
I had a friend of mine that would do the camera work for me, but he wanted to get out on his own. His name's Kyle Wellsby. So now we're kind of in like a partnership. Like we'll work together sometimes, but most of the time he just does his own thing. Out in Calgary, there's a guy called that started Creep Catcher. His name is Dawson Raymond. He's got, I think he's got like 8 chapters now, like one end of Canada all the way to the other end. So he's.
Do you think that's a good thing or a negative thing? Do you think all those people can be properly trained to do what you're doing, or do you think that they could be putting themselves in danger? Well,
personally, I don't want to start anything that I can't watch, 100%. I don't like anyone doing my chatting or anything like that for me. I support those guys 100%. They've had quite a bit of success and everything, and to me they're doing a good job.
Now tell me a little bit more in depth about luring and grooming. What does that mean?
Luring and grooming. See the definition from the dictionary and stuff like that. I'm not too sure.
What does it mean to you?
To be honest, I just chat. I just put my photos up and do my thing. I don't.
Do you think that some of these people that you're talking to could be potentially trying to lure and groom children?
Oh yeah.
Explain that a bit more.
Well, I mean, I put my photographs up. I get a message, hey, what's up, hey, sexy, or so on and so forth. And then I'll message back, hey, and then they'll say something else, and then I'll say, I'm a child. And I give like one-word answers. And for them, it's always paragraphs, big sentences, very detailed questions and things like that. To me, I mean, they're luring me. I mean, grooming me in the sense of making it like being like the fatherly figure to Christopher mostly. Because Christopher has a pretty big backstory. He just lives with his mom. They moved from another city. Doesn't talk to the father. And basically what I do is I like to give them a backstory, but based on one word that they say, I can figure what their response is going to be. It's the weirdest thing to explain, but I know what they're gonna, like, I just know how to extract the information out of them to what kind of, if they've done it before, I just know how to get it, basically. It's hard to explain.
Do you feel with that kind of backstory about only Christopher only living with the mother and not the father, that it kind of stirs some emotions in the potential pedophiles?
Well, basically what it does is, and this is no disrespect, but most predators, most people, just everybody in general, will assume that the father figure is like the lion that guards the house. The mother is typically, in a lot of people's minds, like stereotypical things. So by sending the father not in the picture, stupidly they will believe that that in their mind about the mother, and
it's almost like the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, mothers
are more protective.
Mothers are more protective than fathers. Fathers are, no disrespect to them, but we're actually a little bit slow. And it's funny that I can say that now because I am a father now.
Oh yeah, you just you have a little baby right now. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's very breaking. That just recently happened.
Yeah. An ex-girlfriend from a long time ago got in touch with me, and said we need to do a DNA test because her child doesn't look like the boyfriend that she had at the time. So we did the DNA test, and then it turned out that he's mine. And it was like the best day of my life. Like, it's just, there was like no fear at all. It's just, as soon as I saw a photograph of myself, those eyes are mine. So most weekends now, me and him are together.
Now, being a new father, do you think you're going to be a bit more protective
Oh, yeah.
or monitoring him a bit more on the internet? How are you going to monitor him on the internet?
Easy. I'm going to screen mirror every device in the whole house. I'm going to have cameras in every room except for the bathroom and the bedroom, like the living room and things like that, so that like if you know, like he has a nanny or something like that, I'm going to follow him sometimes when he goes to school. I want to check out like who's walking the streets. I want to see who's like regularly at that time or something like that. I'm going to make appearances at school constantly. I don't care if it's kindergarten, just to let the teachers know that I'm an involved parent, because that's the thing, statistically speaking, that most predators are afraid of is getting caught. So if you make sure that you're in your kid's life and you're around, then there's a greater chance that it won't happen.
Okay. What other ways are you going to be monitoring? Because what if your kid says, well, Dad, you're being a little too overprotective? What would you say to that?
Good. I would do my best to create a good dialogue of communication, because that's another prevention right there is communication. Just leaving, you know, the door open, so to speak. Talking about just anything from like, how was your day? To just allowing them the opportunity to know that they can come with you with come to you with anything. Like, it doesn't matter how big or how small it is, for them to feel comfortable to come to you.
Now, having a baby boy, it kind of opens up a new perspective for you. What kind of perspectives does that open up for you? On like your hunting and talking to people and the way that you talk to parents about all of this?
It makes it a lot more personal.
Yeah.
Before it was, because I mean, I have victims in my family, but just looking at him, it all makes sense now why I'm doing this and how I need to change it all to make it to start making sure that convictions happen every time now, and not just like reports being made and not followed up by the police or whatnot.
Now, you were writing on Facebook or you were telling me earlier that you have some victims who have been messaging you, and you even have children who have been messaging you, parents. What are some of the kids saying, and how old are they around?
It ranges anywhere between mostly like 11 to 25, 26, but there are some older individuals as well, and a lot of them are men. A lot of them are boys, and they're telling me that I'm the first person they felt that they could open up to about it. And it brings tears to my eyes, because like I'm not a trained person to be able to help anybody, but at the same time I'm a human and I'm caring, and I want to be able to help them. It's a lot of young girls too that this happened to, and some of them are even saying that they didn't tell anybody. And then it's a whole barrage of different stories. Even some people saying that like watching your videos inspired me to be able to tell. Mm-hmm. And it's not only about awareness and to try to get these guys incarcerated or to get them help and whatnot. It's also to empower victims, to let them know that you're not alone, because in most cases, from my understanding, when somebody is victimized, it's like kind of like therapy for a bit, and then that's it. You're an adult now, you're grown up, or it's been a few years, get over it. And it's like, no. This leaves lifetime scars. Me and Paul talk about this often, and one of the things that I came up with is, in my mind, it's just my own opinion, that to me it's murder of the soul when an adult talks to a child in a sexual nature, because it confuses them, and it can damage their way of thinking and their outlook and stuff from a young age. And molestation to me is murder one of the soul. And a lot of victims have agreed with me on that they are like, they've moved past it and things like that, but it does weaken a lot in your mind. Like, I have someone I can't say their name, but somebody extremely close to me, and it happened to them, and I can see it in their eyes. I can see it when they talk, like, and it hurts that, I couldn't be there to avert it, something, but.
Do you have parents messaging you? How can I help prevent this from happening to my child or anything like that?
Yeah, constantly. That's actually the other thing too, is a lot of parents are messaging for wanting advice, basically to how to approach their kids and whatnot. Like, a lot of people in a lot of places are not equipped to deal with this. We went to one of the colleges in Toronto recently. I can't name the name, but we went to one of the colleges, and an individual wanted to meet 12-year-old Christopher, and he said a lot of sexual things that he wanted to do with them. We confronted him. We were taken to security to talk and stuff, and literally everybody was running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Nobody knows how to deal with this when it happens, especially like in a college. Mm-hmm. Everyone's trying to figure out, like, what? Like, even police, like when we call the cops, it's, okay. Like, nobody knows nobody's formally trained, except, the exploitation unit is, but people need to get more aware and more equipped to be able to deal with this when it happens.
Now, your YouTube has generated more than 1 million views. Did you think it would be this popular?
No. No, I was just really not thinking the night that I uploaded a couple of the videos, and then, like I said, like, a lot of like victims and just people that are inspired by them would like leave comments and stuff. Since then it's turned into a lot of hate messages and stuff, but it comes with the territory, right? Where there's good, there's gonna be somebody that wants to say like evil things.
Now, I notice on a lot of your videos, you put the location, you put the city that all of this happened. Is there a reason why? And do you think that generates more viewers because it hits closer to home? That's
actually the other thing. I think I'm very honest with it too. Like, if the person's from Toronto and they met me in Hamilton, mm-hmm. I'll say that they were, they reside in Toronto in this area, but they met me in like Hamilton. Just to not make people confused, because the one thing that I noticed, a lot of people don't read the descriptions properly. So they'll just see, it happened in Hamilton, for example, but they don't read the rest of it to know that the person's not from Hamilton. So that's one thing.
Do you think by doing that you're public shaming at all, because you're not blurring out any of their faces?
That's the thing that I've made the transition out of. I haven't uploaded any videos lately. The ones that are up are from a while ago. Now we're changing things up to get these individuals into treatment and get them help. I know a lot of people don't agree with me on that, but reforming them opposed to shaming them it equals a lot more for the communities. Again, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that, but we tried the old approach. It didn't really work. These guys would still be on there messaging, like 2 or 3 months later, messaging me saying, "Oh no, it's okay." And it's like, you just met me. I just got 100,000 views on this video in a week, and you're out here and you want to meet another kid again. So taking a different approach to this is what we're going to try for now and see how it goes.
In some of your videos, some of the people that you meet up with, the men that you meet up with, or whichever, they say, "Oh, no, I won't do it again," or "Trust
Always.
me." Do you believe them?
No.
No, never?
No. I think that anyone that gets lied to a lot can kind of eventually figure out mannerisms for lying. Not owning up to it shows you're lying. If you're just saying sorry to me is just to get away from the situation. It's a quick, wash your hands and walk away. But in the heat of the moment, when emotions run high and things like that, I do understand that why somebody would want to get out of that situation, because it is the worst situation to be in ever. Getting caught going to meet a child, that's the worst. but I don't believe any of them.
Since you've started, there's been a lot of new technology. Has this made it easier or harder for you?
I'm pretty like old school. Like I just I prefer to be Christopher. Like I mean on the phone, it's so much easier just to talk to them, 'cause like I just tell them like I'm 13, and they believe it. Like it's just like old school. We just talk.
Since you've started, this is a very dark subject matter that you deal with. Do you think it's affected your personality at all? You were mentioning that you used to do comedy videos on YouTube, and that's probably not the same as before. So tell me a bit about that.
Well, I feel that when I was still trying to do the other videos, I got shamed a lot for that. Like a lot of people are saying, you know, you're using catching predators as like a standoff to get more views for comedy, which was not the case whatsoever. And the other thing too is like emotionally, I'm not there. I'm just numb. Like I still like watch comedy and stuff like that, but I'm just numb. And I don't have time for all that stuff anymore anyway. I mean, this is my top priority, is informing, enlightening, and encouraging parents to talk to their kids. So
when a pedophile says something X-rated, how do you deal with that? Do you take it personally? Does it kind of scar you a bit?
Recently, we've talked to some of the sickest people ever, and it's on the phone, so it's a lot more in your face kind of thing. For example, an individual, 30 seconds in the conversation, started going on about different prostitutes that he had slept with that were underage, that were minors, 14 and 15 years old, right out of the get-go. And it's like, what did I just hear? Like, this guy can't be serious. But he was serious. I try to take it just like dirt on my shoulder, like I'm just here to extract the information, have it recorded. Paul's the one that has to deal with the hell of this, because he's the one that actually has to sit down and take it from audio and make it into a paper copy, to a script, and organize it all. So I mean, I pity him, because he actually has to sit there and listen to it over and over.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're talking to Justin Payne again about one of his hunts where he comes face to face with a man intending to meet a child. Stay tuned.
When you or your loved one is injured in a car or slip and fall accident, one of the most important decisions you're going to make is the lawyer that you hire. At Alam Law, we take pride in the fact that every person who calls for a free consultation speaks to one of our personal lawyers, not just a legal assistant or agent. Call Alam Law at 416-625-2636 for a free consultation. And remember, you do not pay anything unless I win your case.
Welcome back to Inbox with Julia Cosby. We're back with Justin Payne. So in this video that we're going to be watching, you're meeting up with a 51-year-old man intending to meet up with a 10-year-old boy. Take a look.
A 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I have the chat logs. You came to meet a 10-year-old boy. Why? Because why? I have the pictures from the dick pics that you sent in the conversations with a 10-year-old boy. Why? Why? Why are you messaging with a 10-year-old boy?
Because he was at that site, and it was for, for the adults.
So because it's for the adults, you feel that it's okay to sit there and message with a kid? I have the chat log here. You want to take a look with me? No, you come up here so that you can see. What's your name?
Oh, Eno.
Yeah? So you feel that it's okay, just because he was on the website, that it would be okay for you to talk to a boy?
Oh,
You don't say many, but like, you do this often? You sent penis pictures. Penis pictures to a 10-year-old.
Leading up to that meeting, what was going on? What was he saying to you? You mentioned that he was sending you explicit pictures.
The first day and a half, like I was getting penis pictures from this guy, But the night, I'll never forget the night that everything was supposed to happen and we were supposed to meet. He gave me the address to his building. He gave me the apartment number to get in, everything. And it was so weird why somebody would be so forthcoming with information. It's because he believed the voice. And that's when I figured out that this voice is going to be powerful in these confrontations.
Was that the first time that you talked to anybody on the phone?
That's the first time, yeah. I did it once with as Jennifer. Guy called. He wouldn't get out of his truck without hearing Jennifer's voice. I turned up the music really loud, just made it look like I was sick, and it worked. That's 1 out of a million. But the other time that I actually did try it was with that individual that was 51 years old.
Do you actually think that this voice is believable, or not so much?
On our latest encounter, I was able to ask the individual, because I did the voice for him, and I asked him, did you believe it? Was it really believable? And he looked at me like, no, this is not believable. On the phone, I guess it filtered through a lot better. And he expressed like he believed it.
How did you develop the voice?
Just through each conversation. Stutters, his laugh, everything. I mean, Christopher right now, he's real. Like, me and Paul were actually talking about it. Like imagine if this Christopher was actually real. He's out there.
How do you stay in character when you're Christopher on the phone? Because there's a lot of background knowledge that you have to have that you've been practicing for a very long time.
Basically, Christopher's personality never really changes. I mean, it just a few small details will change, but he stays exactly the same. It's all repetitive. I mean, it's always the same story, so I never forget it at all. So.
Now, talking back about the meetings, there was a meeting that you did where you actually put on a disguise. You pretend to be a homeless man. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, this individual lives in Hamilton. We met down at the GO station. He showed up intoxicated. We seen him walking back and forth between one end of the GO station to the other, trying to find the young girl. A little nervous about how everything was going to go down, like sometimes I always am. I instructed everybody to kind of like take their places and stuff. We had somebody for lighting, camera, and then a personal camera for me, as well as this person was going to be security for me. It was improv. I went over, I'm looking around, I'm freaking out, looked in the garbage, grabbed Tim Hortons cup, dumped it out, put it on the ground. I looked like a bum because I don't really, like I wash my clothes, but I don't change that often. I mean, I wear like plaid shirts. So, I mean, I guess I looked like I was homeless. I put my hat forward like this and just said, sir, please, can you give me some change? I was going to go after myself and get a job. And that's when I stood up and flapped my hat around and confronted him.
Do you feel like by doing that kind of thing and like posting these videos up on YouTube that you're making yourself a target? You're using your real name, your face is there. Do you ever feel like someone might hurt you? Or
all the time. But I'm not afraid. If anybody wants or has any kind of beef with me or whatsoever, you can call me, message me. I'll meet you anywhere. It's not a problem. I'm not afraid. I mean, I'm not a tough guy. I'm not, some guy that knows how to fight everybody and all that stuff. I'm just a man, but I'm not afraid.
Do you ever get death threats or any other kind of threats?
Constantly, every single day. My morning, I have this this like explanation for friends, like why I'm in a bad mood sometimes. From the morning I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, it's either text messages of drama, comments on YouTube of praise or hate or death threats in voice mail messages. Morning to night is drama.
It sounds like you're getting a lot of backlash, negative backlash in that way. You're mentioning that someone actually made a hate group for you. Yeah. Someone lied to the police.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about that.
Bitter ex-girlfriend made like the most false things up, even stating that that she or whatever went to the police, and that there was like a report made about or whatever about me. I went to the police station a little while after. Cop says, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing. It was just to shame, humiliate, and things like that. I'm glad in some sort when things like that happen. It teaches you, like if you, depending on how you look at things in life, it teaches you whether you're right or wrong. You can learn a lot from situations. It just, you have to have the right mindset. You can't look at it negatively.
And then you're also mentioning someone that you hunted in the past was lying to the police about you.
Yeah. Like shortly after I made the video, it was just right around when I posted it. I started getting like all these phone calls once the video was up that this guy tried to end his life, all these different things, and that I took $30 from him to not upload the video. Yeah, and so I got called into the police station about that, and it was this huge thing. Not to mention he was denying that he went to meet an 11-year-old for oral sex. Well, I had chat logs, and I even asked the officer over and over, can we go back to where the confrontation happened? I mean, it's all on camera. There's got to be cameras there that would have, you know, picked up the exchange of
But you
goods.
didn't give $30 to not post the
No.
video? No. And would you ever do that?
No.
No.
No. Not only is it morally wrong, and and aside from that, I mean, the one thing that I think about the most is, okay, so like say if I get $5 to $1 million to not upload a video, and then that person goes out and does something to somebody in his or her family or surrounding area, I could have stopped it by uploading that video, because the parents or the guardians would have been able to extract the kids from this situation.
Do you believe that there's different levels of types of pedophiles, or is everyone just very the same?
No, it's very tricky to put somebody on a spectrum or on a graph. There are the individuals that just want to meet, just to hang out. There's ones that just want to have sexual intercourse, from oral to penetration, so on and so forth. There's some that want to just write child pornography because they have sexual gratification towards just writing it, getting turned on to the fact of making a young person feel uncomfortable. I mean, if you look into it, like there's just like a lot of different things. There's the bottom and all the way to the top of different categories.
What are your boundaries in chat? Is it completely open to anything, or do you not talk about certain things?
I mean, I'll entertain anything in conversation as long as it's not sexual. The thing that I've noticed the most is the more that I cut it off from what they're like. If they send me a nude photograph or something like that, I'll just say right away, you know, that makes me feel uncomfortable. I try to exit out as quick as possible, because it would be like some sort of entrapment if I entice it or so on and so forth. So I just...
How about your boundaries in meeting up with these potential child predators? Do you have any?
No. I mean, I've gotten asked a lot, you know, what's if they bring a gun, a knife, people, whatever. I deal with it when it comes. It's just like when they try to leave without me finishing my conversation, I will get on the back of your car. There's no two ways about it. And I think they're shocked too. I had to remove one of the videos recently for one of the individuals because he was saying that he might commit suicide. So we decided it was in our best interest for everybody to take the video down. I mean, it was up long enough. So he explained to me that he was petrified, me being on the back of his car. And I guess it was a rental car too, because we Google searched the license plate and stuff.
How about locations that you would meet these potential child predators? Are there any places that you won't go to?
I mean, it sucks. I mean, the police are right. You shouldn't pick public locations, because if there's speeding and things like that, they could hit, you know, anything from a child to an adult to a vehicle, damaging property, so on and so forth. I prefer now exclude, like, you know, far out with nobody around, like Saturdays or Sundays when things are closed, wide open plazas, things like that, opposed to busy parking lots like I used to. I used to feel more comfortable in busy parking lots because I could camouflage. You know, just get a pack of smokes and a pop and just hang out on the curb. And then there'd be other people doing the same thing. And then I would just keep kind of like surveillance on the parking lot.
What are some of the biggest reactions that you've gotten from parents? Because this isn't very light and it does hit very close to home for a lot of people.
A lot of parents have been very supportive in this. They've been on my side for the most part. I mean, I've gotten a lot of good constructive criticism. There hasn't been really too much negativity when it comes to parents. I mean, because they see that this is an issue that's not getting addressed. I mean, they brought sexual education into lower grades in schools, but yet we can't talk about this. I mean, I remember the awkward cartoons about stay alert, stay safe. Didn't really teach me much when I was a kid because I was still talking to strangers, and if they came to the playground with a dog, like the social experiment videos you see now, I would have went with them, and like so would have any of my friends. So I think it's up to teachers, school boards, parents, guardians, big brothers, big sisters, everyone to research a proper way, given the learning ability of the child and the age, to make a plan, like a fire escape. Make a plan. Teach them how to, detect a situation and things like that. And not only that, but for the parent to be involved.
We've got to take another break, but when we come back, we're going to be back with Justin and Paul, Justin's partner. Stay with us.
There's a lot of reasons why I'm really happy to be working with Greenish, but one of the main ones is their brand philosophy, which is also my personal philosophy, and that is embracing this passion for life. They develop products that help you live your life to the fullest in a wholesome and a healthy way. And Greenish products are really those that I trust, and I trust that you'll trust them as well, because it's all about living your life to the fullest.
Welcome back to Inbox with Julia Cosby. Welcome back, and we're now joined by Paul.
Hi.
Hi. So now your role in the whole operation is more technical. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Well, I do two things primarily. I take all the intel that Justin gets when he's doing the counter broom, I call it. So when he's tricking the predator that he's a child. And I try and assess from that who we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. So is this person a convicted sex offender, for example? And also what kind of crime they're committing, like what form of online predation or just child predation, period, that they're committing. So for example, some people will be using like obscene sexual graphic language to communicate with Chris because that's their paraphilia. They get turned on by that, but it's a form of child abuse. Some of them want to lure them to a physical place. Others still might send them illicit material, like they might send, because it's a crime for them to send nude pictures of themselves, right? So to send pornography to a minor is also legal. So I'm trying to assess like what crime they're committing, and then determine like what jurisdiction they're in. So like what kinds of things can we do to alert the law enforcement personnel in those areas. And I basically take all that and I write a synthesized report that law enforcement can use. Knowing still though that if this goes to court or if charges will be laid, they're going to need everything, which is totally fine. All I'm trying to do at that point is to create just a very basic, rough and ready summary that will let them know, okay, here's what's going on, this is what Justin's doing, it's completely transparent, and if you need to call us, here's how you can reach us. But the third thing, as I was just saying, I want to do is do a journalist component, start writing articles about Justin, because what he's doing, it's a very unorthodox method of being able to extract information from child predators, but I think it's morally right and it has to be done for the interest of public safety and child safety. And so taking all that information and writing what we can really understand about the minds of child predators and how they think, what makes them tick, But ultimately, it's not just for that. I want to make these articles really accessible to parents so they know how they can protect their children, so they know exactly what's going online. It's a really difficult reality to speak to them about, but it is there. So how they can take the proper steps to inform their child in a way that won't scare them. You know, these are the sorts of things that might happen when you're on whatever app or social media platform you're using, and that it's not okay. And this is what you know you have to do to tell us, to report it, and to always make sure that you remove yourself from that situation, because you don't want to stay in anything harmful, and those situations are always harmful. So I would like to write like those articles to kind of do those two things. But as I tell Justin, like I'm always following his lead. So he's on the front lines. I'm always studying what he's doing. You know, I don't feel I really, in terms of who he talks to, how he talks to them, he does that. He's really talented. I feel that he underestimates like how much of a skill that is, especially the Christopher voice, and how he's so intuitive in knowing what to say when. And it's really, to me, the voice is believable, but even what's more believable are the things he tells the predators. And things recently, because we've been involved more in phone chats with predators from different parts of the world, it really escalated because the voice is more of a reality than just the text. And so they don't know that this is sort of a sting, and so their guard is down. They're not filtering anything, and they reveal a lot, and it's quite ugly. And so, yeah, that part is difficult because I didn't really foresee myself ever getting that far into this. I met Justin on a podcast and wanted initially to do a documentary on what he does, but I felt like it was too much of a problem in the world that I felt I couldn't just kind of stay on the sidelines filming Justin do his thing and not do anything about it. So I found myself here. Yeah.
Speaking of education, you're actually a doctor.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about that, and has that...
Well, yeah, like, I mean, so my doctorate's in philosophy. I studied here at University of Toronto, then I did my master's and PhD at the University of Ottawa. But the whole time it was always with the intention to teach. I love being an educator still as much as I can. Maybe it won't be in the classroom anymore, but that's always what I wanted. But it's a difficult time. I haven't given up on that, but it's a difficult time to find full-time work. So I taught for a while at University of Ottawa. I taught at junior college in Quebec, and then I eventually could only find work online. But I didn't quite like that because it's a virtual environment. I really want to be in front of a class, so I figured if I can't do that, I'd like to at least apply my philosophy in other ways that are meaningful and will connect me with people in the world. So I got into like making short documentaries and the podcast, The Dark Room, where I met Justin. Now I'm going to start doing more article writing. But I always feel that I'm drawing from philosophy, especially because my background is ethics. Like I'm always trying to figure out like what is the right response to this situation. And Justin knows how I feel. Like I don't feel like shaming is the right way to go. But we do have to do something about the problem. And so I think the best way is just to harness like the skills that Justin has and whatever I could bring to the table to get these people in the justice system. And I want to leave that to the experts, like whether they need rehabilitation, whether they are going to be incarcerated. I feel that is a whole other level, but they can't just remain in free society like that, committing crimes. It's ethically really problematic, and it's illegal. So that's where I feel like my philosophical thinking comes in a lot, because I'm always thinking about, you know, how we can make the world a better place, and I'm hoping that all these efforts will just help protect children and that it doesn't promote a hatred towards, as reprehensible as their crimes are, towards the group of predators who are doing this, because they're making some really bad decisions, but at the end of the day they're human beings, and you know, it's very difficult to hate a human being just because, you know, they're human. That's it. So it's not at all about, you know, promoting like hatred or contempt. And there's a lot of it out there, especially towards predators. And you know, understandably, I know where that impulse is coming from. But I'm joining forces with Justin for public safety, child safety, and making sure, you know, nobody's harmed. It's about reducing harm in the world. That's really what it's about.
Can I cut you off for one
Yeah,
sec?
for sure.
Yeah, look, we pretty much came to the understanding that I'll take his route, and like if nothing happens, well, then the video goes up. But like with a considerable amount of time to allow like the wheels, you know, in motion to, so to speak, to get things done, like to get them in the treatment, something, anything. But it's just.
And the frustration is there, right? Like, a lot of people are feeling it, I feel, with, and it was a really good, can I mention other, like, media outlets? On your CBC had, like, a really good interview the other day with creep catchers, and one of the experts, Jim Gamble, who's a child exploitation expert from the UK, yeah, he really nailed it on the head when he said that there's a lot of arrogance among, like, law enforcement, and they just have to really come to grips. Look, this is a problem that civilians, if their intentions are good, they can get involved in helping the police. We need to create a volunteer arm that's trained and vetted by police. There's no reason why civilians can't do this, but you know, at least in Canada, that's like an impossibility right now because police are just pushing anyone like Justin away who want to help out with the problem. They just tell them to stop because it's dangerous. They're not following police protocol, but it's not going to, it's not, that method's not going to work because there's such a powerful motivation among people like Justin to tackle this problem head on, and so they have to harness that, you know, they have to harness that somehow and channel that energy productively. And I'm hoping law enforcement will come around and see that. Like Jim Gamble, he's part of law enforcement, and they started that in the UK, and apparently it's working quite well. So, yeah, but I would say that. Yeah.
Now, speaking of danger, I know that Justin, his face is all over the web for all of his videos, and his voice is out there, and his name's out there, but yours isn't so much. You've been in a couple of videos. Are you ever concerned about your safety?
Yeah, by association, right? Even because I've been on stings with Justin. When I was doing the field work for the documentary, I went on quite a few stings with Justin. And it was to understand what Justin does in the moment, not to just talk to him about it, but to be there and see. I felt that's the only way I'm going to actually understand what's going on here. So I saw Justin in his car chatting with predators. I saw Justin on top of cars going after predators. I saw Justin confronting the way he speaks, the tone. Justin's amazing at reading body language, which I've learned a lot. He's really intuitive. So I learned how he does that, or at least I saw how he does that. So because I'm there with the camera, sure, by association, even though my intentions are not to get that guy in trouble, but is to study Justin as a subject. That's what the intention was. So, but I guess though at the end of the day, yeah, there is always that lingering concern because these people don't get arrested, right? So they've been shamed online. Their reputation is really compromised, and you are a little afraid that they're going to pin part of that blame on you. And so out of revenge, you just don't know, right? So yeah, you lose a little bit of sleep over it, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely like a point well taken, yeah.
You guys were mentioning that you guys take comedy breaks. What are those?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Recently started the vlogs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like stuff like that. Like I went walking around. This is embarrassing. I probably shouldn't admit this, but I went walking around with the camera, and then he was talking, and he was setting up some equipment or something, and I farted. That's disgusting, I know, but it's something that it totally was not expected, and he started laughing. Because like I said, he has to deal with listening to that audio over and over. Me, it's just, I'm in the conversation, and periodically he'd just like take a small clip, like 2 or 3 seconds, send it to me and say like, what do you think of this or that? He's sitting there listening to like 20 or 30 hours of audio with each individual, and it's still growing for some of them. And it's like the most disgusting content. So I think that it's very important for us to laugh.
Absolutely, like for sure. I still try as much as possible to separate those two things. The things I'm doing with Justin with everything else that I love music. You know, I've been into reggae for like longer than I can say. I mean, it's been...
You don't really come off as a reggae guy.
Yeah, I know. I'm a reggae. I started off as a reggae DJ when I was 18. I produce reggae. I sing reggae.
This is a whole other side of you.
And I kind of show that off a little bit in my Instagram. A lot of comedy stuff. It's like my diary. I just have a moment, or just record on my iPhone. And if something comes out, I just like to share it with the world, make people laugh, or make people wonder, why is he being so weird? You know, dancing to the music and stuff. So I don't want that side to ever leave. You know, because I think comedy is so important. We're human. We like comedy. We like to laugh. You know, I mean, I think it's a good medicine. You know, because otherwise your mind is stuck in that dark reality. I love comedy. I love watching stand-up comedy, so I do that. So it's music and comedy for me, kind of gets my mind back to where it needs, or just going to. I like doing photography. I like photographing, people in my community, like the Italian community and bakeries and stuff like that. They're kind of interesting characters. So it's stuff like that, just very, very inspiring kinds of things. Yeah.
Do you feel with this whole experience, since you guys have started, that your personalities have changed a bit or at all?
I've gotten a lot more mature.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like, I was somewhat mature before, but like being around like him and Jordan and Kyle and everybody, like even if I'm not around all these guys like all the time, I feel that like I've gone up a level in maturity.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, all I can say is that my mind is thinking of different things a lot more than it's ever. I think Justin, as I said, like, really opened the Pandora's box, and we all know that this is a aspect of human society we want to go away, but I wasn't aware of the scale of the problem. I mean, there was to catch a predator, but I wasn't aware until I started like how massive this problem is. So, and seeing Justin fight it every day has got me thinking about each and every one of those predators and their potential and their likelihood to offend, and the things that, because Justin saying I listen to a lot of audio, right? Because I'm really trying to investigate as honestly as possible. Like, did we really hear this person say this? You know, like, we want to do a real investigation. We're not trying to get anyone in trouble. We really want to make sure, did this guy commit a crime? Where's the proof? It's just like, I mean, I feel that's where there's a parallel to law enforcement. Like, we're trying to figure out, like, if this were to go to court, like, what would the prosecution have in its arsenal, so to speak, and what would the defense say, and like, how can we put together something that's credible? And so, because I have to listen to a lot of audio, you miss things, right, when you're just hearing it real time. It puts things in your head, you know, that you wish weren't there, but like, you always got to keep in mind, that's the only thing that really keeps you going, because otherwise there's a lot of times you feel like quitting because it's really very obscene stuff, like stuff that you've never heard before. So, but you have to just keep in mind that this is for the interest of public safety and child protection, and so that's kind of what keeps me going. and I don't know. It's like an ethical obligation. I feel that's kind of where I kind of found something that I didn't see myself ever getting into till I met Justin. So I have to say my thinking's changed. I don't know if my personality's changed. I hope not, because otherwise the Instagram stuff stops, and I don't want to be that person who's afraid to share that side. I like to be honest, you know. I like being a funny person sometimes too. It doesn't mean that I don't care about, you know, the serious stuff. It really doesn't. I just need to separate those things. Yeah.
Since getting involved with this whole operation, have you learned anything since then?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't even begin to tell you. Like, do you mean about, like anything in general, or?
Whatever rings a bell right off the bat.
I think that people are extremely concerned about the well-being of children, and as a society we have to come together to do everything we can to make sure they're not harmed. And I've never seen like that kind of response that shows that until I met Justin and saw the comments online and people praising him, or law enforcement even coming forward and saying, we appreciate what you're doing, but it's not following the right protocol. And then learning more about how they do it, and seeing just like this massive effort on the part of so many parties to protect children, which is, that part is inspiring. So seeing that firsthand, I think, is one of the nicer things that I learned. But as I said before, the scale of this problem is just nothing I could have fathomed before seeing Justin. Like, he's constantly, it's just like
24/7.
Yeah,
texting, chatting.
Yeah. It's like, you know, what would you call it? Sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? A revolving door, right? It's just constantly moving around. There's the next person, next, and then Justin and I were just talking this morning about like how with the phone, I think because it becomes more of a reality for the predator, it's just escalating. It's getting worse. I mean, the kinds of things that people are revealing because of regards that. So that kind of evil, I have to call it an evil because it's a frightening thing, and it's morally wrong. It's illegal, and it is liable to harm a child. So I can't just say it's a crime or unethical. It's a kind of evil because there's a harm that is going to take place if nothing's done about it. Seeing that is really shaking me up, and learning that that's not just stuff you hear about, you know, occasionally on the news. It's always, it's out there a lot. You know, a lot of people that you wouldn't expect. You know, like Justin was saying, like high-profile individuals. You know, well-respected members of their community.
Superintendents,
yes,
paramedics.
Yes.
Like the list goes on.
Yeah. So yeah, you just you don't know. You really don't know someone. It's like sometimes you wonder if everyone's like a Jekyll and Hyde, right?
Well, just like the person that we brought into our group to help out, he ended up messaging my profile. Luckily, he had the camera. He was able to videotape it. It was real time. He was messaging with me saying it's okay, and it's like. And then there was another instance where years ago I had worked with this contractor, and he went to meet the little girl that I was pretending to be, and it's just like I knew his name sounded familiar, but I couldn't put two and two together. But then when he showed up, and then I put like his profession in with his face with that first name, and it was just like, then I went around asking everybody that I used to know, and they said that's the guy, that's his picture, that's him. It's like, holy shit, like these are people that are already around us right now, and they're hiding. But that's why we flush them out.
The thing is, like, in an ideal world, I wish it was the case that when these guys are apprehended, they can get treatment and be cured. But the more I do research, like in the scientific literature and doctors, neurologists, psychiatrists who've studied their brains. It's much more complex than that. So I don't even know the answer to that question. I don't know what the right response is. I'm just hoping experts within law enforcement and healthcare can figure that part out. But I think what Justin and I are trying to do is to kind of identify these individuals to help law enforcement figure out what the next response is. Like, how do you manage this guy in the system? Like, how do we make sure that society's protected and children are protected? I don't really know the answer to that part. Yeah.
If you could put a message out there to anybody, to law enforcement, to people working in medical, people working in this kind of field, counselors, what would you like them to know?
Me personally, especially working with Justin, is that you would have a lot to gain from people like him if you give them a chance to work alongside you. If you sit down with them and talk to them about how you operate and let them talk to you about how they operate and figure out a way that you can build a bridge, you know, a volunteer arm, just like Jim Gamble was saying. I think it's a fabulous idea because the intentions of people like Justin are very sincere, and they are willing to give everything they have for this cause. I'm not sure what else you need, really, more than that. I feel that Jim Gamble was right to say there's an arrogance out there on the part of law enforcement that civilians can't do that work, but they can. I mean, I've seen it firsthand, Justin do it. So if instead of like pushing people away from it, why not create a new kind of community where you can train people to do the investigation so that when the information is gathered, it can go to court and just won't be thrown out the window. Because Justin is up to what, like, I think he's encountered like close to 300 individuals. I mean, in real life. I mean, that, and many more online. So, I mean, where are they all now? Like, something was never done about them, you know, in law enforcement. So you're losing a lot of opportunities. So that's what I would encourage. That's my message, that law enforcement give the so-called vigilantes a chance to sit down and meet and figure out a way how they can work together. And of course, for parents to always talk to their children, always talk to their children about what they're seeing online. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've got to take another break, but when we come back, we'll have more with Justin. Stay with us.
जिंदगी में कुछ मीठा तो चाहिए, मगर ये बात भी सच है कि शक्कर का इस्तेमाल डायबिटीज और मोटापे के अलावा बहुत सी बीमारियों का बायस बनता है। और दूसरी तरफ आर्टिफिशियल स्वीटनर्स के भी बड़े नुकसानात हैं। इसीलिए दुनिया भर के करोड़ों लोग अब कुदरती अज्जा से बना हुआ स्टीविया ही इस्तेमाल करते हैं। और ग्रीनिश स्टीविया का जायका और अज्जा मार्केट में मौजूद तमाम प्रोडक्ट्स में बेहतरीन है। सेहतमंद जिंदगी गुजारिए ग्रीनिश स्टीविया की कुदरती मिठास के साथ। मजीद मालूमात के लिए किसी भी करीबी फार्मेसी, ग्रोसरी स्टोर या हमारी वेबसाइट www.greenish.com से रुजू करें।
We're back on Inbox with Julia Cosby. Joining me is Justin Payne. Welcome again. So have your views on mental illness changed at all since you first started hunting child predators?
My view on this issue is changed a lot. The thing that I've come to realize is that this monster has no face. Like, it could be anybody. You know, a father, a mother, an uncle. It doesn't matter. Like, this monster has no face.
What would be a message that you would like to send out to people thinking, considering about acting on their pedophilia, or who have?
If you're thinking about doing this, don't go to a hospital. Just walk in to any of your local hospitals anywhere and just explain to them what you're considering or what you're thinking of doing. You don't realize the life that you're going to ruin or the possible lives that you're going to ruin. A little bit of embarrassment from a few nurses and doctors and having a report is nothing compared to what you're thinking about doing. You're thinking about murder. It's not worth it. And if you're online and you're thinking about experimenting by talking to what you think is a minor, you're not. You're gonna meet me. It's gonna be me every single time, or it's gonna be somebody just like me. So.
Most of what you're doing is through dating apps. Do you have a new respect or a newfound knowledge for what girls are going through on dating apps?
I have an extreme respect for women when it comes to anything social media related. I mean, just in general, but more or less social media related. I have an Instagram, a Facebook, and a few other social media accounts for Jennifer and Christopher, just to make them look more legit. The messages I get before I even say that I'm underage is disgusting. Penis pictures, asking for one night stands, asking to pay for sex and things like that. These are things that I've heard women talking about that they've had to go through being on online sites, but it's disgusting. It's every single message I get. The odd one is like, hey, what's up? But after I respond, it's $50 and will you do this or this? And my respect has gone through the roof for the stuff that you guys have to deal with.
Now that your videos have been very public, over 1 million views, 1,300,000 views, do you ever find that you get recognized a little bit more? That maybe if you're online on some dating app, people might recognize you? Or
I joined Plenty of Fish, and I wasn't getting any messages, so I messaged a girl and I said, you know, why is like my profile not good? Like, if my picture's not good looking? The girl said, your profile's fake. You're not Justin Payne. And I'm like, okay, that's a new one. And then I started getting messages periodically like that, like, I don't believe you're really him. Because I don't take photographs anymore. It's just like I don't do comedy videos. I don't feel like, I know I'm good looking, but I just don't feel in selfie mood ever. So all my pictures are just the professional pictures that Paul's taken that I use for like a portfolio for what I'm doing. So I put a couple of those up, and I guess that's what made people think that it was fake.
Do you find people recognize you more on the street
now?
Oh, yeah. You go different places,
Mostly,
especially in the GTA? Mostly,
I've kind of like what I've called tested it out just for like curiosity to see. The subway in Toronto, that happens like constantly. Some people will like be watching the video and be like, holy crap, like you're this guy. Or if I'm in Walmart in Brampton, constantly, every single time, at least 2 or 3 people. And a few of the people that work there are on my Facebook. So it's like I got them coming up to me saying I'm on your Facebook, and I'm like, I don't know who you are. And that's the thing that I've gotten used to. Like it comes with the territory, and you're in the public eye. Learning how to talk. Like say if I'm in a bad mood, or I've had something bad happen, smile. You know, like I can't discourage people from sharing, liking, watching, and talking about this, right? Like I have to keep a positive front always when I'm in public.
Does it bother you at all that people are recognizing you, or are you fine with it? Is it something that's very new to you?
It's something that I had happen a few times when I used to do the comedy videos, because it was just a short period of time, like just a few months where I dabbled in that. I don't have a problem with it at all. The only thing that does have a problem with it is my anxiety. And sometimes my anxiety is just like crazy. Just if I have too much sugar one day, or if I don't get enough sleep or something like that, or if I have coffee, I can't deal. So I just won't go in public. Because if I know if I'm going to get recognized or someone's going to talk to me or something, then I won't be able to deal with it. So and nobody expects that from me. They think Mr. Films himself on camera and stuff and gets on cars and all that stuff. Like, I don't have anxiety. It's crazy anxiety.
You also mentioned that you don't like being called a hero, and you don't refer to your following as fans.
No. I mean, I do think that, if there are acquaintances, friends, and people that want to call themselves fans, but I only believe in followers or friends. Those are the only two that you could be to me. And that word hero is reserved for police, firefighters, paramedics, doctors, moms, dads, anyone that goes like above and beyond to do something great, right? Like what I'm doing should be expected. It's common sense. Like people should be doing what I'm doing. So I'm not a hero at all. I never want that title ever, and that's too much of a title to live up to too. So I don't.
You're also mentioning back in the day there is a comedian that you like to watch online.
Oh, yeah.
And you messaged him. Tell me a bit about that.
Well, for the record, my favorite comedian is Gene Wilder. He's from the 80s, like phenomenal. Like he doesn't cuss, he doesn't profanity or anything like that. But there's a guy named Jack Jones. Everybody knows him on YouTube and stuff. Like his videos get like millions of hits. I messaged and I didn't get a message back. And I mean, it's understandable because all these actors and stuff, they're all busy. But like personally for myself, I message each and every one of my followers back. And we're talking like my inbox is still flooded. There's over like 1.2 million messages that are still there. And every one that I respond to is a new message I get from that person or somebody else. And I make sure as a point though to take each day to message everybody.
What's the next step for you? Investigative journalism, educating parents, keeping up with your videos? What's up?
The next step, I think, is to try to infiltrate into law enforcement to try to get them to take this more seriously. Possibly something along the lines of, just like you said, investigative journalism. I would have zero fear in getting shipped off to another country to report something, to bring video and stuff back. I think I thrive when I know that like if my life was on the line and that this story is for the greater good of people. So yeah, something along the lines of investigative journalism, or just bringing truth to people.
Well, Justin, that's all the time we have for tonight.
And there's one thing.
One thing.
Yeah, on behalf of myself, Paul Salvatore, Kyle Wellesby, I wanted to present you with a shirt that I had made for you.
Oh, very nice. I hunt the evil, you pretend doesn't exist, and there's your face.
Yeah.
Looks like you. Aw, thank you.
No problem.
Well, thank you very much, and good luck with your future hunting. As well, keep in tune for our next episodes of Inbox with Julia Cosby. I'd like to thank you for watching, thank you for joining the discussion, and catch our next episode of What Matters Most to Canadians. Thank you.
#1 multicultural channel. This is TAG TV.